What's up, guys? Josh Bushing here, Fairly Awesome Podcast. I'm joined with Mr. WTF movie review himself, Mr. Chris Keene.
You're joined with me?
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Conjoined?
I'm glad to hear the surgery with Nate that was successful. I don't know how I feel about that. When did this happen?
I don't know. I'm a symbiotic organism. I have to connect.
It's like waking up in a tub of ice with no kidney. Woke
Right.
up conjoined to Josh. Not sure how I feel about that. Not much choice, though.
Yeah. And also, Ryan McDowell.
Oh, hello. I just like to say that is quite hilarious that you can be conjoined to Chris.
Yes.
I would like a movie made about this. Maybe get 2 or 3 more people conjoined ass to lips.
Ass to mouth. There we go, ass to mouth.
Yeah.
That's what they got wrong with the movie Centipede.
I had this idea that this was going to be so much funnier, and then you guys went.
We stole it from you?
You did. Thunder is gone.
Josh is like, hey, this is going to be really funny. And I'm like, Josh, what's that over there?
Alrighty, so this week, talk about some phone OS choices. It seems like everybody's got kind of their niche now. Like smartphones have been around for long enough that people have kind of come into their own with what device they like and what works for them. Is there a certain sort of method to that, Ryan? Do you have something to add to that?
I don't know. I started noticing this pattern a while ago when smartphones came out and people were making their choices about what they were going to go with, right? I mean, there were the people that tried to jump in too early, myself included, friggin' Windows brick phone, right?
Yes, same.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I got to have it with the snap-out keyboard, you know? Can't have an on-screen keyboard. Those suck ass. And, and then there were people that tried to go for is it the Engage? Is that the one that has the screen pushes up and there's a keyboard there?
Sidekick.
Sidekick, yeah.
T-Mobile. Sidekick.
Yeah. So there were phones like that and whatnot. But, I mean, whatever. And then it appeared that there were 2 kind of clear winning designs out of this. An iPhone and the what I'll call the scaled Android design, right? Sure. Which they're pretty much, other than where the connectors are and where your buttons are around the outside, the design is all the same, but that's on purpose, You want right. So I don't know. It was interesting seeing the people that would choose Android and iOS, and you can't make a hard and fast rule about tech people choose this, and
Nope.
and dumb people choose iPhone. Wait. Was this an argument you guys?
I like where
making
this argument is going.
Shit. No, but you can't just say, the people that just need a dumbed down phone get iPhones, because there's really technical people that get iPhones as well.
Yeah.
So I think my theory is that it comes down to customization, how nuts people get with customization. When I buy a product, I other than a car, I don't really meddle with it a whole lot.
Right.
I just want it to work. You know what I mean? But there are tinkerers in lots of things. People tinker with their computers. Other people get computers that they just want them to work, even if it's Windows computer.
Right.
And I think that's what it comes to me. That's my theory, is that it's the tinkerers, those that want to. The phone is their thing that they tinker with. And to me, no thanks. I'll take my. I'll do the little bit of customization that iOS lets me do, but I kind of just want my phone to be there. And I know there are people that are, that sort of thrills them. The I can do whatever I want with my phone. I could load free apps if I really want to, or paid apps but for free or whatever.
Sure.
Because I have that flexibility, and I can totally manage everything on the phone, which I cannot do with an iPhone. I can't totally manage everything on the phone.
Right.
I mean, they have memory management, they have file management, that sort of thing. But
yeah, it's minimal though.
I mean, what do you guys think? Think it's the customization angle, or do you think there's because at first I thought maybe it's because most people that go Android are thinking that one day they're going to write an app for this, right? Because on iOS you have to get everything approved. It's not open market.
there's still some. I mean, you still buy in for both. I think it's only like $25 for the buy-in for Android, so it's cheaper rather than the $100 buy-in for iOS developer.
You mean to post it on the App Store?
Yeah, you have to.
But
with
you
with
still
an
have to
Android
get-
device, you don't need an App Store. You can provide.
Well,
the
you
APK
could sideload
and
it.
sideload.
That's true.
Which I guess you can do that with an Apple. With an
only
iPhone.
your phone.
It's just
It doesn't go on the store.
right.
But here's the thing: you don't need approval to put it on, unless it's breaking copyright or whatever. You don't need really approval to put it on the Google Store.
I'll imagine
versus-
they have some sort of something.
Yeah, they
This
still
is
have to follow
guidelines.
in their license.
Yeah,
And you have to flag it. Like, I mean, if it's over, obviously 18 or something, it has to be flagged that way too.
but generally the rule has been you can put up whatever. We'll take it down if it's like YouTube style licensing where
Right.
you upload wherever you want. If we find an infraction with it,
Yeah.
you know,
You only get so
whatever,
many, and then you're just done.
versus the iOS or the App Store for iOS is different. They have a wall, and only those that get through are allowed.
Right.
That being said, they still have a couple that get through, and then they end up taking them down.
That's true.
I think I know early on. Well, I guess I think early on, a lot of the draw of an iPhone device was more status because it was an Apple device, and Apple devices have always kind of carried a. I don't want to say I'm better than you vibe to them, but they kind of have carried an I'm better than you vibe.
I'm with you there. Like the little Apple stickers that everybody puts in their
Right.
VW back window, and
Right, the Apple stickers. And if
It's
you've
like
ever-
a standard.
it's got to be in the
VW.
back window of a VW, doesn't it?
I think so.
Usually, yeah. And if you've ever looked at I know this is probably a dumb example, but if you've ever looked at a phone case, Android phone cases and even BlackBerry phone cases are solid cases. It's a solid plastic back. Nearly every single iPhone case has a cutout for the Apple logo, so you know it's an iPhone because you can still see the Apple logo.
Oh, I get you. But here's the thing:
So that
your
way-
phone doesn't have like a Google thing on the back of it, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, but
Well-
that's a Nexus.
Right, but
Yeah, like a Samsung
But
phone has the
my-
Galaxy S2 on the back of it.
But the big difference, right, is that there are so many manufacturers.
right.
Right.
This one
I mean,
only says Nexus. Actually, this one doesn't say Google anywhere really.
But in
on the
general,
device itself.
most of the time when you get a phone case, it has been customized for a maybe not specific model,
Mm-hmm.
but a specific family of phones. So
Sure.
it wouldn't be all that hard to say on this family of phones, it's usually here, so I'll make a cutout for it. It's just, if you saw somebody walking down the street and they pulled out their phone and it said, Galaxy S2 on the back, you wouldn't give a shit. Not that most people really probably give a whole crap ton when they see an Apple logo on the back of their phone. But that's kind of some of the draw
brand
that I think.
brand recognition is very powerful. In some
Yeah.
places.
And I guess with Apple, you can make the argument it's a little easier because they do have such a recognizable logo.
It's true.
Like Samsung, it's an S, I guess. Is their customized
No, it's the
logo,
whole-
or is it
It's the whole
or is it
name.
the name
Yeah.
Samsung?
Yeah, it's the
my
whole name.
my Galaxy Nexus says
right.
Samsung
LG has
on
the
it.
the LG face. I guess
Yes.
is at least a single logo. HTC, I think again is just HTC is the
In a
word.
stylized
Stylized
font,
HTC. So Apple is it's easier to do because Apple is just the Apple logo.
Is this sort of akin to when you watch like a TV show and the back of the laptop, is displaying something?
It's very
right?
obviously
it's either
Dell or Sony or
or Alienware or,
Right,
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And those recognizable ones, this is brand flashing on purpose.
Right,
They
yeah.
could have chose to use a laptop that didn't have anything on the back.
right.
or
And a lot
whatever,
of them do if they don't get the rights to.
Yeah, they'll
to
use a
air it.
plain.
Yeah, they'll have to like plainize their stuff, or
Yeah.
cover up things with cases and other things. It's funny.
So yeah, I think a lot of the at least initial draw and maybe still some of the current draw was status for iPhones. Over the years, I think it has come down to iPhones definitely being a far more stable ecosystem.
It's true.
The phones, you can pretty well be guaranteed that if something, like if you buy a certain model, you're good for at least 2 or 3 or 4 upgrades onto that model because all they're doing is upgrading iPhone. So when a new iOS comes out, chances are pretty good you can run it on your phone.
Right.
With an Android phone, I guess maybe not knowing enough about BlackBerry, I don't know if theirs works the same way and how often their OS updates.
It's different.
It is.
Some of the Windows Phone was notorious too. Like some people bought like brand new Windows phones.
The next revision was
cut them off completely. And you're
Well, I
like,
know from having used like Windows Mobile 5 to Windows Mobile 6 devices, there's a giant change in between those, and I could see that being a huge pain. But yeah, with Android phones, I mean, maybe you'll get an update in 6 to 12 months. An official update.
I was going to say the assumption is that you'll generally get one major upgrade, and in that instance, I was going to say in some instances a specific phone won't get any.
Right.
You could load them.
Right. Yeah. You can, with the Android phones, you can load the OS yourself. You take some risks in that if the drivers aren't quite right or it's not configured quite right, the phone may be a little quirky. We'll call it that.
Most features will be there, and when you go to use something, it'll just not
right. Like
work.
with my phone, I upgraded my phone to KitKat, which is in no way going to be released for my phone ever. I think I was lucky to get a Jelly Bean upgrade when that came out. The first time I launched it, the camera app recorded scrambled video. It just was the wrong camera app. So I, going out and finding, hey, this is the problem, and you just need to load an upgraded camera app, fixes it, and that's it. But yeah, I mean, there's no, you run into that with no official from your phone provider updates, and I think that's the fact that with an iPhone you don't have that problem is still an immense draw to people because, like you said, most people don't want to screw around with having to either customize their phone or deal with some oddball thing that it doesn't do quite right, that chances are they may be the only person having that problem or one of 5 people having that problem. With an iPhone, there are enough people, if something's going wrong, chances are pretty good that you're not the only person.
They're iterative. Like they can push an update to fix a problem that gets found right away, and it pushes to everybody who's got the device.
Right.
So something like, security issue or something on, say, a Nexus device or something Android based, it takes a while for them to compile it, and then they've got to go through the carriers most likely.
Yeah.
Whereas Apple has control of most of that, and I think that was part of their draw is that they have control from the carrier. You can't load baloney apps and bloatware that they're used to with some of the other featured phones for Android is concerned.
Yeah, and that may be some of the draw as well, is that after years of the PC market, where you'd go to a store and buy a PC off the shelf and immediately have to click through half a dozen ads or uninstall 24 pieces of software that you will never use that are on the computer.
Yep.
You get a phone that has none of that crap loaded on it, because you still run into that with an Android phone.
Yeah.
Android phones will have
bloatware still on them,
or carrier specific software on it that is only specific. Like AT&T has a locker and their friends list and all that stuff that's preloaded on there that you can't
Verizon
normally get rid of.
My Droid X had an NFL thing on it. I couldn't get rid of.
Yeah.
So when I ended up rooting the phone and installing that, I think you can titanium backup. You can freeze it and it goes away, so it's no longer on the device. Oh, that was kind of nice. Kind of a pain, but that's one of the reasons why I chose the Nexus line, because it's pure Google. There's no bloatware. It's just Google apps at first, and then whatever I want to put on it.
Yeah, and you're probably going to be set for a while with updates from them. So on one side, the hardware they put in the Nexus branded phones are kind of ridiculous.
One of the things that I was interested when I first bought the Galaxy Nexus, it had already been out for a year, so it already had some issues and some things here and there. But when I first got it, then the Nexus 4 had come out or was about to come out, and then so each one got updated to Jelly Bean at that point in time. So with that update, it was nice because I had obviously the latest Google software for my phone, but it started to get sluggish, I think, with the next thing, and then it didn't get the KitKat update. That was one of the reasons why I updated the phone itself, simply because I wanted to make sure I could get something a little faster. I think the biggest problem with that phone was just RAM. It's like 2 gigs versus like 512.
Yeah.
A 2-year-old phone.
Sure.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think a lot of it is that there is a segment of the market that wants control of their phone because they think they're going to write an app for it, or they want some customization beyond what they think is possible with an iPhone. And to them, Android is a lot more attractive because of the freedom that they're kind of given versus an iPhone. Whereas people that usually end up with an iPhone just don't want to have to mess with one more thing, needing way more customization than needed, or taken with more problems and stuff like that.
It does seem love or hate though, right? Because
Yeah,
one of the draws for me was that with small exceptions where people write their entire interface themselves, which is way more rare on iOS apps than it is for, say, Android apps.
Right.
Back in iOS 5 and before, everything was Jewel style, where all the buttons were kind of sunk in, had like this, I don't know how to, or what they call it, gem style or Jewel style, where there were it was like a little candied reflection on all the
glare.
buttons.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So then iOS 6, they went to flat. Everything was flat, right? And in a lot of cases, there wasn't even an outline around the button of what you're looking at. And some people didn't like jeweled style. Some people loved jeweled style. And when it went to flat, they hated it, right? And they did some other weird stuff with, like, backgrounds are, they allow you to load a higher resolution background than what your phone will display. And as you pivot your phone, it'll kind of look around that picture. And it also does that while you're sort of looking at the tiles. It'll move the tiles. And this kind of goes back to one of the things you were talking about with if there's an update, they can apply it quickly. There was too much movement, and it was causing people that were sort of, I don't know what you say, light sensitive or something like that. Like too much was moving at once. It was like giving people issues. I don't think it was anything serious, but there was enough feedback on that was like, let me turn that off. That they issued an update within like 2 or 3 weeks.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, that's one of the fragmentation within Android is just kind of atrocious at some point. And we're always hoping that like eventually they'll get a point where they can do those updates and not have to worry about carrier support. That's their biggest problem right now, I think. Apple had with how they did it, AT&T exclusive for that long. They held out. They got super popular, and then everybody switched to that network that had the iPhone because they wanted that iPhone. So once that happened, then they took that foothold. They had more control. And I think when they finally went to Verizon, they're like, no, we're not installing your bloatware apps. We're going to dictate terms on our end. And
right, if you want the phone, here you go.
And I really like that. I think I wish Google had a little bit more bargaining posture there. But the Droid sold based on the fact that they couldn't get an iPhone on Verizon. So if you wanted the Verizon network, you had to buy a Droid to get anywhere remotely to that. Does that tie in with tablets?
Does what tie in with tablets?
The OS. Like, I mean, if you have an ecosystem that you're bought into, does that tie in?
A little. I would say
because I'm rare. I'm weird like this. I have an Android phone, but I do have a.
I would say that the tablet is a little bit different, only in that trying not to. Because I don't have a MacBook. I don't have a Mac PC or anything like that.
Right.
For me, it was just as a phone, it worked well managing both a phone side and a smart device side, right? And Droid has done the same thing. The one I just got into iOS before Droid really became big enough for me to worry about, because they were in my visibility, they were like 6 months to a year behind. And now I would say they're at the same level. You can achieve the exact same thing with either phone. Nobody's really talking about whose marketplace is bigger for phones because the numbers doesn't matter. If you're looking for it, it's out there. It's just, are there 7 copies of that?
Right.
Are there 7 different iteration of Frogger on Android? Maybe not. Maybe there's only 2. I don't know. But
that's one thing though that iOS does have though is the game market.
It does, and Android has it too, though.
A little
it's
bit.
just not
It's
as,
not the same.
Yeah.
It's missing things like Infinity Blade and those kinds of games. I don't think they have an Android version
But
of that.
To quickly answer this, and then we can
Okay.
see what else Chris has to say on this. I'm gonna let you finish in a minute. No, I think tablets are slightly different, and I think it's pretty universally agreed that the iOS interface and how they did the iPad, it looks like it was totally intended to go to a tablet the whole time. Everybody, it was like get your iPhone, but with a much bigger screen, and it was like it was like tablets kept trying to make an entry.
Yeah.
You had those like split in half laptops for a while.
Yep.
The flip around laptops where the screen would just rotate and flip down.
Those
Nothing
tablet
worked for the longest time. I remember HP made like 2 or 3 different tries at that market, and they were just too early.
Yeah.
And then the iPad comes out after the iPhone had sort of already gone through 2 or 3 iterations, and that tablet is solid, and they've only improved it since, getting smaller, thinner, lighter, longer battery, doing what you want. And I think it's difficult for the Android tablets to compete with that.
Yep.
I don't think I can say that 5 or 10 years from now, that Android tablets aren't going to exist. I think that's a little silly, but it didn't. When Android phones came out, you saw a lot of iOS fanboys saying, "Oh, never going to last." Apple's got so much cash, blah blah blah. That's fanboy talk, and then and Android is no closer to death now than
I think they
it's
have
kind of
market
stronger.
share.
I was going to say it's stronger than ever.
Yeah.
But on the tablet side, I'm a little bit not worried for them. They're not going to go anywhere, I don't think. But I don't think they'll ever have what the iPad has already established. I think that would be incredibly difficult. Because when Droid came out late,
Yep.
it boomed back into sales, and I think just like you said, they now have market share over iOS.
Yep.
And I don't know that we're seeing iPad was first. Now Droid tablets have been out for a while, and they're just not booming the same way that Droid phones did, or Android phones did. Sorry. So what were you going to say about what was it? Games?
Yeah, with the marketplace, a lot of that I believe has to do with on Apple, very limited in what you can sell for free. I believe, as far as apps go, like you have to sell like a minimum 99-cent app.
Right.
This could be like old that I just haven't been updated on, but that definitely has a lot more allure to people looking to develop an application because you're at least quasi-guaranteed some sort of revenue stream. Whereas with an Android device, it is a lot easier to sideload an unauthorized copy that you pirated from somewhere.
That is an interesting point. I don't know what it is, and maybe we should have done some research on that point specifically. But
it's protected.
Because some can do free.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's some good games I've played that are free. It's just they're enormous, right? Maybe they're getting a cut of their ad revenue. Maybe you have to be big enough that their ad revenue... Because Apple makes a portion of every sale that happens on the marketplace.
Right.
Like 30%.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a pretty big cut.
I believe they get a cut even of in-app purchases. Now,
Yeah, I think so,
like
too.
You can't get around that.
Yep.
The other thing I was going to say about the tablets is that kind of goes back again to the problem being, it's kind of twofold here. One is the fragmentation. You have $40 Android tablets that are terrible.
Yes.
Like they are no name, never heard of them,
Yes.
run like ass tablets that kind of look bad as far as a
representation of
Resistant
Android
touchscreens, and you're
Right.
like, why did you?
right. And then the other thing is that your very popular Android tablets are all skinned tablets, like your Nook, the Amazon Kindle.
Right.
They're
their
Android,
flavor,
but they're a very specific, company labeled flavor of Android. So, yeah, the iPad still kind of has the same, I know what I'm getting with an iPad versus, if I buy an Android tablet, am I buying a Kindle or am I buying a, no name Kogi. Who the hell?
Kogi. Yes.
Premium monitors.
Right.
For those that don't know what Kogi is, Chris and I used to work at a Best Buy, and when flat panel monitors were first coming out, there was, I seem to remember it was right around Thanksgiving that they came out, or maybe it was just a Thanksgiving special. We kept them for a little while after that, but anyway, it was like 15-inch flat panel monitor. I swear to God, if the screen area was more than 11 inches, I'd be surprised, because it was like 15 inches, corner of plastic to corner of plastic.
6-inch bezel.
Yes, 6-inch bezel. It was ridiculous. They were the crappiest things ever. I think max resolution was 1024 by 768 at a time when all the CRT monitors, or the glass screen monitors, were up in the 1200s or maybe even 1600.
Probably 1600.
Yeah, so it was hilarious because we saw these things, and it quickly Kogi became equivalent to man. After Chipotle, I gotta go take a Kogi. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. All right, so I think we have now covered who. Did we even really tackle who does iPhone and Android? I mean, we kind of did, right? Those who tinker and those that don't.
Yeah, I guess, but
They have their markets, I think. Yeah.
I think people buy into an ecosystem, they kind of stick with it.
Yeah.
If it's something they enjoy. Now, if it's something that they don't like or are confused by, then they'll upgrade or move along. Obviously, new is always good, and that's their thing.
Yeah.
It's iterations of phones. It's a device that goes with you all the time. Obviously, after 2 years, you're kind of like, okay, I'm ready for something else.
I do promise our listeners that I do not have an Apple logo anywhere on any of my cars.
It's a tattoo.
Yes.
God dang it. It's the Apple tramp stamp.
Oh, no.
Speaking of choice and stuff, what? So, Kickstarter offers lots of choices to throw in your money at people who want your money to maybe invest in new things. Maybe they're designing a product. One of the biggest ones right now, it's huge. I guess I should look it up one time as far as like how much that they've raised so far. But Reading Rainbow, they're trying to get money to
Bring Jordy back?
Yeah. They kind of start it back up and set up like an application for iOS and Android and some of the other places, and then really just give free access to schools, libraries, and all that kind of stuff. What do you guys think about all that?
I don't know. Like, I remember Reading Rainbow from, back in the day, and I remember watching it. But I don't know that I feel so strong about it that I would feel the need to kickstart it. Like crowdsource it or fund it or.
Somebody needs you to go dun, dun, after every single point for the course of this. But I guess I can kind of see what they're doing, because if you think about it, when you were watching Reading Rainbow, probably for a lot of people really got them into reading, because you get like really short kids books that you kind of get a little quick synopsis of, or you'd get to watch LeVar Burton go do something weird, like either a job or go to some place and show you how things work and things like that. So it was kind of a twofold show.
One that got you into reading, and one that did sort of how it's made, but for kids.
Kind of either how it's made, or kids that don't know what they want to be when they grow up, getting an idea as to here's what's involved if you go work in a restaurant kitchen, or here's what's involved if you become an actor, or here's what's involved if you.
I'd be interested to see what the format of what they're proposing. I guess I haven't read all the Kickstarter details on this. Like, is it a show plus a website?
I think it's mainly just
I believe it's an application
they're trying to go for.
That
21st century type deal, where they'll like probably have access to
like reading. I would assume reading materials, probably like kind of learning applications.
Yep.
So that'd be interesting if it had like an e-reader built into the app. You know what I mean? Because, like, okay, so you remember those things, and you were like, if I had that book right then, when he was like, you should read this.
Yeah.
Do-do-do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you didn't have to go take the like where we lived, if you didn't have to take the 15-minute bike ride down to the library or whatever that was,
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Lots of traffic.
right? Because we had to kind of cross some busy roads to get there. But anyway, if you could do that and have the book right there, I probably would have read a lot of those books. You know,
I think
it can work out well that way.
Yeah, it kind of really depends on exactly where they go with it, but I think it can be very interesting if it does give you pretty much on-demand access to exactly what they're telling you about and showing you right then as far as reading materials go. And if they do, kind of like when e-readers were kind of first coming out and they had like the motion e-readers where like you had the Alice in Wonderland where like the drawings on the page would kind of move around a little bit. If they could take that with a lot of the picture-heavy kids' books and animate those for kids using the application and kind of read to them, that'd be pretty cool.
Brings things to life. So, as of today, 7 p.m.,
today being
June 1st, they are at 3,224,732.
Wow, some people feeling really strong about reading Rainbow.
And their original pledge goal was like 1 million. They blew that out. Like day 2, I think they were at 2 million.
Are they related? I mean, 1 mil seems kind of low for a production team for Reading Rainbow. You know, I mean, I realized that was a PBS thing, and so it ended up being publicly funded anyway, or well, I guess it privately funded, wasn't it? The show was
Through donors, I imagine.
Right.
But yeah.
I'm kind of interested to see. I mean, I guess I can get behind something that tries to inspire kids to figure out what they want to be and to get more into reading and whatnot. So I'm not sure. Are they related? Are they connected in some way to Reading Rainbow, or were these like developers that then went to Reading Rainbow and said, "Hey, you remember that one time you guys were popular? You want to be popular again?"
Well, LeVar's behind it.
I think it was spearheaded by LeVar Burton.
Yeah, he's the one that's spearheading it. But I don't know if he's actually tying his old shows into it, or if he's doing like a whole new production with.
What is he doing right now?
Whatever he wants. He's got that Star Trek money.
What would you do with all that Star Trek money?
Star Trek money.
There.
That's actually the top reward. If you pledge $10,000, you could wear his visor.
Yeah,
that was one of the
for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
probably.
I don't know.
I'd be like, "Sir, don't touch it."
Yeah,
like,
$10,000 for ultimate
white
Star Trek
gloves
visor
and, places
package
on your face. That's the interesting thing about the Kickstarter is because of his notoriety with both Reading Rainbow and Star Trek.
Yeah,
the pledge gifts, whatever the hell they call them, are friggin'. Some of them are really awesome. Like, no, I don't have that much money, but that'd be a really cool thing to get. Like spending time with him, like wearing the visor, doing all sorts of stuff, and it's just a lot of it. I think a lot of the draw, besides the Reading Rainbow name and having him attached to it, is just some of these really cool.
So let me ask this: if there was a backing level at like $50 or $25 or something like that, they got you a shirt that said "Hello, my name is Toby." Would you jump in on that?
That would be something I think I would jump in.
I'm being scorn-faced by Chris here. Totally inappropriate.
That's let's go back to our roots.
We've made several references to roots on this.
We have.
More than we have Reading Rainbow or Star Trek, really.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's done some Star Trek references.
Definitely more than Reading Rainbow.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
I feel this is going to be a common theme.
Yeah. It should be.
So I think the other thing that's going to make this really successful, outside of as successful as it already has been, is the recognition that the people that are now in a position to donate money grew up with this.
Yes.
So they know what Reading Rainbow was and
what it could do.
Whether you consider it great or not, nostalgia is an awesome thing because in the view of nostalgia, everything is cool that you grew up with, regardless of how terrible it actually happened to be.
Correct.
Compared to now. So you've got this, I remember this was super awesome when I was a kid. I want this for my kids, but I don't want to go back and show them, terrible, grainy-ass VHS copies of Reading Rainbow. I want them to have
no one wants to sit
Reading
through that
Rainbow
either.
2.0 experience.
Yes.
No, they've gotta grow up learning the magnetic tape tears and the
kid is gonna seriously,
You
you're
gotta
gonna
get
have to like.
VHS with a terrible head on it, so it's
Right.
like got the nasty, splice through LeVar's head, and he's like, "Hey,
You should get your kids like a modem, a
A
dial-up
modem.
modem, just so they can understand what that noise is.
You tell them that they've got to train them.
I was gonna
Train
say,
them to do like
isn't
this
that what
little
dubstep
dance.
is at this point? Is just modem sounds? And
That's
a
what,
bass- a
that's
bass
what
drop.
you do. You train them because they're, what is this foreign object? You just train them to do like a rain dance around the modem and try and make the same noises back to it. That ensures a good connection.
Yes.
And then every so often you pick up the phone so it drops them.
I was gonna say, if you think about it, right? If dubstep is modem noises, then the bass drop is when you're totally connected, and then somebody calls you like right after you connect and disconnects, and you have to try all over again.
Or somebody in the house picks up the phone. They're like, Jimmy, I was trying to use the phone.
Hello.
All of a sudden, your connection, you're like about to smash with all of your Warcraft 2 minions, and then you hear this, hello! And you're like, no!
Thanks, Grandma.
I told you no good computer games after 7.
Whatever, Grandma. You don't know me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could be a good thing. I do think that we seem to be lacking a lot of imagination shows right now, or I mean, so like Cosmos was a good one to bring back. I think Reading Rainbow would be another good one, even if it wasn't just a show, like the application or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good idea. But is part of your question, should crowdfunding be part of that?
That's the interesting part, is that I mean, I guess PBS and all that stuff beforehand was basically crowdfunding back then.
That's true.
Yeah.
So now it's just on a 21st century scale where you have a website that does all the work for you, basically. Setting it all up. Obviously, Kickstarter makes a cut. I'm not sure what their cut is.
Yeah.
Can't complain with $3 million. At least that's
It's 3 months. It's still got what? Good part of a month left?
Yeah, it doesn't get funded until July 2nd. So it's got like the whole month of June.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Plenty of time to make way more money.
Yes. Well, I hope it does well. I really do. I think it's a good idea. I like it. I backed it.
Yes.
All
That's
right. Well,
probably way more funny to us than it is our listeners.
Yeah,
so I
that's
guess
true.
we'll
That's
stop
true.
with that.
all right. So,
Just kidding.
Chris, let's talk about cheaters.
Let's talk about cheaters. So, middle of May, Blizzard announced, I guess they didn't really announce, they filed suit against about 10 hacker, like cheat creators, claiming that through the creation of this map hack that allowed you to do things such as see where enemy units are before they're revealed on the map, see number of units, see resource counts, things like that, that in addition to violating the terms and conditions of playing, this was StarCraft 2, in addition to violating the terms of playing the game, that they had in fact created an unauthorized copy of the game through the hack and are suing them for copyright infringement. So I guess there's two questions here. So does this make any sense as far as going the copyright infringement route versus just kicking them off for creating the hack? And two, are game developers obligated to fight like cheaters like that? Or is it more of is it less of an obligation and more of a, well, we don't want people to not play our game? Or is it, you put this game out here, it's got this flaw in it, you need to fix
it. Cheating sucks in a video game. Like, that's like predominantly set up in a system of rules
and balance.
And yeah, there's supposed to be some sort of balance involved.
Right.
So, I had an issue with Warcraft one time, World of Warcraft. An Eye of Storm match I was playing. So it's instanced combat, and you start on these opposite floating things, and then there's this little bubble that you're kind of trapped in. Well, some guy on the other team figured out a way to like teleport himself out of the bubble, and then he like is able to cap all of the bases before the countdown comes down. So they've got enough people that snuck out, or somehow that they, like 4 or 5 people that were able to sneak out, grab the bases, So all 4 bases are capped and are on the opposite team before the match even starts. So by the time we get in and the match goes, they're already there. Like, most of their team is just at our spawn area.
With a pretty massive advantage.
Huge advantage. The countdown's already gone. I mean, like, each ticket that they take with that little flag cap is worth points for them. But still, their whole team there smashing. We have no defense, really, other than just being up at the top there and trying to not die while not really going anywhere or getting any of the bases captured. So that kind of sucked. It really, I think I stopped PvPing at that point.
Right.
I was just like, all right, I'm done. That's
Right.
it.
I agree that yes, cheating sucks when you're playing a multiplayer game like that. Yeah. But does it rise to the level of
I don't
a criminal a criminal lawsuit versus just saying, look, you cheated, you violated the end user license agreement, you can't play anymore.
Correct. That would be a better route, in my opinion.
Your accounts are banned.
Right.
Yes. Than going after them through copyright infringement. I think that's a stretch. I really do.
I think that's really silly, actually. The copyright infringement, that's totally bogus.
Yeah. Like, I mean, because did they legitimately buy the game in order to play online? You would assume that they would had to have.
Right. My understanding of the way it worked was that you had to pay. Let's see. Their complaint was that you had to pay $60 some odd for access to a VIP forum to download the map hack. So you had to pay to get into a forum to get the map hack, but you still had to own a legitimate copy of StarCraft or I couldn't tell from the actual stories whether it allowed you to play with an unauthorized copy or if it just they were calling it an unauthorized copy because it had been a hack. It was a hacked copy.
Oh, I see.
So I don't know if it actually allowed you to play without buying it. Or
StarCraft 2 had DRM in it.
Right. The system is called Warden, and that's it's what's designed to basically keep you from running any third-party software. I think there was something similar to World of Warcraft where they kept you from running. It kept you from running bot systems in like a wine instance on a Linux box or running some kind of third-party skin program that gave you, I guess, an unfair advantage of some kind. But yeah, that apparently this hack managed to find a way around that system and was, granting a player access to a better viewpoint. And so Blizzard is making the claim that it was damaging their brand and costing them money, which I guess I can kind of see.
Yeah,
because,
I would say that claim is true.
That's probably true.
And
that's accurate.
Yeah, and then that because of the way the computer was working, it was somehow creating I'm assuming, understanding this correctly, that it was in memory creating an unauthorized copy of the game, which they're calling copyright infringement and suing for that.
I still think that's a stretch.
That is a stretch.
But, yeah.
I agree that cheating, if left unchecked, is very damaging to a game.
Yeah.
There were those that play first-person shooters. If you feel like a game is ridden with cheats, especially in something that is so non-strategic, right? Because that's what we're talking about is a real-time strategy game where matches take, 30 minutes to an hour before you face defeat or not. Right. Versus a first-person shooter where you might face defeat, in terms of minutes.
Right.
Or
in my case, about every 30 seconds.
There you go. Spawn, die.
Spawn.
How are you doing this? 15-second respawn. I'm just kidding.
Just that good.
Yeah.
I'm shooting for a negative kill to death ratio. Somehow I've lived more times or I've died more times than I've actually lived.
Right.
I'm shooting.
So yeah, the thought is that if a game is getting more negative views of people cheating and things like that you're just not even gonna bother with it because it's just so ridden with cheaters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you'd be like, screw this, I'll go play something else that's not riddled with cheaters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think it is part of Blizzard, in this instance, Blizzard's responsibility to track down what cheats are coming out. In the same instance that it's somewhat on Microsoft to figure out who's making viruses. You know what I mean? Okay, yes, there's a whole business for that on, but okay, let's say vulnerabilities, just vulnerabilities, right? That is on Microsoft to figure out what vulnerabilities its OS is making and what's being exploited. that should be on Blizzard. And in this instance, they figured it out. They found out who was doing it.
Yeah.
But is it? It's malicious. It's not. It is damaging. The question is, can they really do anything more than ban their accounts?
Right.
I don't think so. And maybe that's. I mean, there is company losses there. So how do you quantify that? You know, I don't know. I think it's a stretch to call it copyright infringement. Maybe there's not a law for what they're doing. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe there should be something that says that you're not going to create software that alters. It definitely invalidated the EULA.
Yeah.
But should they? I don't know. I mean, maybe there should be, an actual punishable crime for making software that alters, because it affects. So let's say you paid $60 for the game.
Right.
I paid $60 for the game. I also made some cheat that altered your experience with it and made the game worth less than what you felt it was,
Right.
So I'm altering other people's experiences as well. Same thing would be true for aim bots, and same thing would be true for, I don't know, fishing techniques, I
Lag
guess.
switching.
Yeah, lag switching, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God. But I don't know. Is it a criminal offense? I mean, there is loss there.
Yeah.
How is it? I guess in say, they've got tournaments and all kinds of other things, professional gaming type things. Right?
How do they keep them out?
How do you?
Cheats out?
The cheats and stuff like that.
A
I mean, they're
professional-
being watched.
A
right?
professional tournament, one, you're being watched, and two, in general terms, the machines are set up for you. You don't.
Yeah, you don't bring
basically
yours.
you bring a keyboard, a mouse, and a headset, and that's all you get to bring.
Gotcha.
Like the towers are set up and they're pre-configured, and you can't do anything. So the most it would impact is any kind of like online only tournament that
But that's
wasn't
rare.
monitored
Yeah, but most of that stuff
very
is.
heavily. And I guess I could see if you have if anybody attempts to use like ladder standings
Yeah.
for let's call it scouting or something like that, then yeah, if you're gaming the ladder, then
Obviously,
that's causing a problem. But again, it kind of comes back to Blizzard staying on top of, hey, something weird is going on in this match. What's the deal? Why is this person rising from nowhere? Is he really that good, or do we need to look and see if there's something wrong?
I would
with their
imagine
screen?
that even if he wasn't that good, it would show in his tournament play.
Yeah.
I mean, like if it's a night and day difference, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, over the course of obviously, if you're there and you make some good decisions, but I don't know. It's hard.
So I guess
they did catch what's his face for
I hate when they don't catch what's his face.
yeah.
Who are you talking about?
I don't
The one guy with the eyes.
Yeah.
know.
And the mouth.
Lance Armstrong. They didn't catch him doping till
Oh, okay.
forever
Oh,
ago.
okay.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like it's something like that they
Bike
can
hack.
yes, actually human hack. But yeah, okay.
Hacks. Well, that's a totally different subject. That I don't know. Maybe that
It's
just
still
takes
cheating,
us too
though.
much of a tangent here. But okay, we can take it there. Does the bicycling, is that a criminal offense? Can they try to sue him for damaging the image of the Tour de
I
France?
think they could sue him. I wouldn't say it's criminal. I could definitely see it being a
Do you think he should have to pay fines?
civil offense. Yeah, imagine pay back most of the money he won.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you lose whatever.
What if he
medals you
didn't
got.
make? What if he didn't make any money?
You would still have to lose whatever accolades. I think
I'm
the kind of weird exception that this one ends up being is that wasn't like the top dozen plus people were doing it as well.
Oh, really?
So,
Yes.
So really, the best racers were all doing it,
yeah,
which
they're all
you can kind of make the argument.
Oh,
that it was all-
I thought you meant the top dozen people in the StarCraft 2
no,
ladders
in
were
the-
doing
in the-
it.
in the bike thing. Yeah, like
I got
yeah.
you.
How
Yeah,
many
yeah.
do we know just how many or that were actually doing the StarCraft thing?
I don't know if they actually have numbers on it. I said the lawsuit's like 10 specific, well, not even specific people, but 10 people.
See,
Okay.
in a way, I think Microsoft's approach to this is the right way. I mean, because to do that, you have to register all your information,
Yep.
right?
Right.
and you have to have regular billing stuff for that to even work. To me, that kind of works out because then they say, if it's severe enough, one, you get a console ban, right?
Yeah.
If it's severe enough, they ban you for life.
All that work, that would hurt.
So what do? You legally change your name and move so you can play console games?
I don't know.
Okay, in the Tour de France one though, here's doping is clearly different from other performance enhancing drugs, but where do you draw the line? Like football players that are taking oxygen on the side of the field, like the nose oxygen, or drinking Gatorade, right? Both of those are performance enhancing drugs. Or not drugs, performance enhancing items that they didn't have, let's say back when the sport was originally envisioned.
50, 60, 70, 80 years ago.
I'm not going to make any quotes on when Gatorade was first made. I think it was for college they did that.
Yeah.
What was it, Florida State or something?
Gators, That's why the Gatorade came.
Right. But yeah, okay, should Florida have been in trouble for making this thing that replenished your electrolytes faster than anybody else could?
What plants crave?
Right. So should they? I don't know. Is that cheating?
That so, but then again, everybody's doing it now, so that's the hard part. It's like, is it cheating until everybody's doing it?
Well, okay, like baseball. So if everybody's freaking doping and everybody's heads, like a raisin on top of their shoulders, did that just change the?
That's zero.
Because everybody loved that summer when Sammy Sosa and McGuire were like freaking shattering the records. When you find out they're doping, that is what's damaging.
Yes.
Right? Had it not gone... I'm not saying we shouldn't find the cheaters, but I'm saying when they figured that out, they probably shouldn't have made that so public. They should have said, we know what you're doing. You're going to resign tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're going to, blah, blah, blah. But it was that thing that your heroes got crushed. Yeah. That's what damaged it. Yeah. And I don't know, in this instance, in my opinion, they should have figured out what the executable was for this, for the cheat. They should have found anybody that's doing it and said, we found a hack that's out there, a cheat that's out there.
Yeah.
If you're found using this, you will be removed from the ladders. You'll be banned indefinitely on ethics grounds.
Right.
And you won't be able to play the game anymore. Thanks for your money.
Yeah.
That's, in my opinion, that's what they should have done. Go after these guys for creating it. I don't know. Maybe. I could see that they could say that the $60 that they were charging to get into, that they were charging for this, I could see them saying that they want some of that.
Yeah, and I believe they have.
In damages.
Right, I believe they have claimed that as some of the damages.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to me, it's still kind of a gray area because, I mean, you're not technically charging the $60 for the hack, you're charging $60 for access to a forum. I mean, I don't know. But I guess, like I said, as far as the second question goes, so pretty much does that mean that game developers, while they may not have an obligation to, they kind of have an obligation to anyway, just by the fact that people will not play their game if they deal with that.
Yes, I think if this went on for a long period of time, that's on Blizzard in this instance, because it clearly is part of their namesake if this goes on unchecked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody that isn't cheating on, Xbox or PlayStation, when they come through with a ban hammer, everybody's like, woohoo, less cheaters.
Yeah.
And they feel good about it. I think that's what they should have been doing to begin with. Should they go after them other than this? Possibly the only claim I can see is that the $60 they were charging for forum access, I think that would be less of a stretch than saying it's copyright infringement, But I don't know. I cheating sucks, and back in the day, if you wanted to just with your friends play some games and enter in some cheat codes, for
Game Genie.
right.
But that was all single player games.
It's victimless cheating. Damn
Yes,
it!
it was.
99
How else were we
lives
supposed to beat Mega Man?
or Contra. Come on now. If you didn't do the 99 lives, how are you going to beat Contra?
That's true.
You're not going to beat Contra with freaking 3 lives. Nobody does that. Nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that cheat
There's a
code
guy-
too.
There's a guy on YouTube that probably has like a 10-minute run through.
He probably does. I'm
with 2
saying
lives.
that you know what happens.
Yeah. That's
I've
funny.
dedicated my life to Contra.
Right.
All right. Well,
So
Mario Kart. Let's do it.
yeah.
Let's
We
let's
gotta
just-
dive in.
We do. So Mario Kart 8 recently came out. And Ryan, I'll let you just
So, as Josh said, it came out for the Wii U. Now, while this surprises nobody, I'm going to contend that they could have made so much more money had this one game. Just pick one, Pick one game that's going to sell really well.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 is a very good example. And just sell it on PlayStation, sell it on Xbox, sell it on the Wii U, and they would have made so much frickin' money that I think that it would have been an eye-opener for what this could have done with their other IP. But if they wanted to just play it safe, just pick one. And this one would have been an awesome one to do it with. We're at a point that I don't think Mario Kart is selling consoles. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a big reason for some people. But I think if you're
You know what?
getting Mario Kart 8, you've already got the Wii U.
I bought a Nintendo DS because
Did you really?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it just looked awesome.
So, yeah, I'm
And then
gonna.
you played it for like 5 minutes
No, I played that one a lot.
in between Pokemon.
I never beat Pokemon.
It's because Nate was too busy spanking you and beating you. in
That's a
Pokemon.
long game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I don't know.
So that's
Like
my
I said, I never finished it, so.
that's my thought. I think you open up Mario Kart 8 to Xbox and PlayStation, and oh my god, I think you'd find an overwhelming majority buy that game.
There's a lot of critics that said that Mario Kart 8 wasn't great, but I don't know. I haven't. But
The
To be
great
honest-
thing is, it could ride the coattails of everybody that
This is
remembers.
you know
Mario
what? If you
Kart
had
on
an
the
opportunity
64.
to buy it on your Xbox One
Right.
tomorrow, would you do it?
Yeah,
$35, $50, $60. Would you buy it for 60?
yeah. I there's games
That's-
I bought for 60 that have provided me less entertainment.
Would you?
Maybe not for 60.
Maybe not for
It's a
60.
full
So
game,
there's
though.
120
It's
for
still,
a month
it's still just
because I would
racing.
have. I
I'm
definitely.
not
bought
like
it.
super big into racing, but probably like $30.
It's a party game.
That's 100.
Yeah.
It's a party game. It's not
120
really.
bucks. I guarantee you, Nate would buy it.
Yeah.
So we're at 180 already.
Yeah.
180. That
180.
justifies it entirely.
Right.
I'm just saying that every single one of our gaming friends that have a console would buy this damn thing.
I agree.
And you know, after everybody else would be like, "Hey, you need to get on it."
I'd
Play
pretty much
Mario
be
Kart.
like, God damn it, I'm buying
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
Okay,
You know it.
Thanks, Titanfall.
You know it.
So true.
I don't. I mean, I'm sure we'd all have our loves and hates about it, but every single one of us would have bought it.
It's
You
true.
know?
Go buy it and play it.
I don't
Come on,
understand.
Nintendo, dropping the ball.
I don't understand why they're not. This is like their bread and butter is like games, right? They've realized this, and their consoles are fun because they develop the console to play and interact with the game. If they would spend half the time learning how to code the stuff into all these other consoles,
I hate to
rather
say
than-
it, but that's also like an 80s and 90s thing, isn't
I
it?
know.
You know, you make the console for the games that you.
Yeah.
I mean, people try and do exclusives and stuff, but it's kind of getting to be
I-
a
to
dated
be
concept.
honest, I think the exclusives put you at a disadvantage in today's market. And the reason being is because not everybody has the free capital to throw at, another console. You're going to buy one console that everybody used, that your friends are connected with. And that's the system you're going to play on.
Especially when there's not really proprietary hardware anymore.
Correct.
I mean, when you're looking at what's... Oh, wait, Wii U doesn't have Blu-ray on it yet. But, okay, you
Well,
look
to
at
be
those-
honest, I had to download the Blu-ray software for my Xbox.
Did you?
Yes.
Huh.
It was not initially on there. It's like, hey, you've put in a disc. You should download this software in order to play this disc. I'm like, really?
Oh, that's right. You have to install the app for it.
Yes,
the
the Blu-ray
Blu-ray
player.
player
It's like-
app.
35 meg or something.
Yeah. I know. sink in your hard drive. You're like, God damn it, I can't load.
Well, I was still just like, really,
Kinda
this
pain
just
now.
doesn't just exist on the damn
All those
dashboard.
cuts.
That kind of
50
annoyed
gigs
me
of
at first.
Yes.
210 of it's just snakes smoking. Goddamn load animations.
Yes. No, I don't know. I think we're pretty much all in agreement there on Mario Kart.
Yeah, it's probably
It really
everybody.
should branch out. Go ahead and just bite the bullet.
Just freaking.
Can you imagine them releasing any of their old school IP on mobile devices?
It would be a
night and
like,
day, the
media-
single greatest buyout
right,
instantly. Most downloaded ever in a day, like that.
right, because it would be like a huge media thing. Because
Link to
this
the
is
Past
like,
on my phone. Are you kidding? I pay
Yeah.
$40 for that on my phone tomorrow.
What was the Zelda that was on Super Nintendo?
The Link.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, just making sure.
What if they re-released the 3DO Zelda?
So which one?
The one, the 3DO player.
3DO. Did it have a Zelda? No.
Yeah, it had like a really crappily animated Zelda.
Really?
Yeah.
I must have missed that.
I didn't realize that they had ever done that.
Yeah.
They
It was
released a Zelda on 3DO,
It
huh?
was pretty bad.
Wow, I missed that.
I don't
Maybe
think-
that's why they don't
I
wanna
don't.
do
I
it
don't know that
anymore.
you missed it.
Well, that's what
You
I'm
didn't
saying
know
though is
about
that
it. You would not
maybe
have
they
missed it.
that did so poorly that they're just like, okay, we're not doing this
Yeah.
ever again.
That could be. Maybe that
Did
is.
you
Maybe
ever-
they-
Did you ever play the Mario on a Jaguar? Neither did I. No,
I think
that's
you're
not-
making shit up.
Totally. Totally making stuff up now.
Nice job. So,
So
final thoughts. Nintendo, do it.
yeah, and if you agree, you like this video, or you like this Facebook post, or you leave a comment or
Yes.
something,
Right.
you let us
Something.
know
Let us know.
how many tens of dollars they would be getting.
Yes.
Right.
But seriously, I do think.
I don't understand. There's so much nostalgia. Look, if Reading Rainbow can make $3 million in like 4 days
Right.
from nostalgia purposes, how is
They could-
8-bit Nintendo stuff not being sold in every single market?
Not to put ridiculousness on this, but why hasn't the U.S. government already seized the IP of Mario Kart to pay off the national debt?
Exactly.
I'm just saying it's probably a number that ends in trillions.
Right.
Probably.
Probably.
Okay. Well, I guess that wraps up today and our podcast. Leave it on a high. Nintendo, do this. Just do it.
We'll leave high.
It's that too. Just smoking the IP.
Do-do-do.
All over the place.
All right, guys. If you liked us, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fabcast.
Really awesome.
Fairly Awesome Podcast. Oh, it's Fabcast at the Twitter.
It is the Twitters.
The Twitters. The tweets. Follow us there too. Obviously, like us. Like video on YouTube. Still posting that.
Yeah, we still post video on YouTube.
Okay. And then...
Less of our ugly faces. So, that's a plus.
Yes.
That's true. You just get to hear our lady killer voices.
Yeah. Buttery smooth voices.
Oh yeah. God damn it, Carlos.
All right, guys. Take care. What prompted that, by the way?
I
Just
was
'cause
sitting there at
Playing a skin flute.
I was playing a skin flute,
Okay.
and I was like, this reminds me of the music when you get the star in Mario Kart. And then, I was like, Mario Kart 8. Why isn't it everywhere? Why isn't my skin flute everywhere? No, I don't know.
That would be a very big skin flute.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Watch out, ladies. It's coming for you.
I know you
You
played
just-
the recorder in second grade. You can play this bitch.
Oh, shit.